Hey guys, welcome to the podcast. We've got Sugar Kane Watts today. How are you doing, mate?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. I'm a little bit tired after a couple of sessions this morning, and so
When you say a couple of sessions, is that?
I had a swimming session at 6:30 this morning. So I was down at the local Frankston pool and doing some laps down there, and then I had a skills session up in Thomastown.
Yeah.
With my head trainer, Ray Giles.
So you're a plumber by trade, obviously. So how often are you managing to do that at the moment?
Between running between gym sessions and training sessions, I'm taking about 100 calls a day that toing and froing where the guys have to be and problem solving with that stuff as well. So
running a business as well as training for a world title fight.
Yeah, mate. I'm trying to block the business stuff out a little bit as you speak. But
so how did that come about? How did you sort of find out that you were getting that title shot?
Well, actually, I had a fight in March against Jaden Joseph.
Yep.
For the WBA Oceania title, which got me a world ranking with the WBA. So I was lucky enough to get a top 10 world ranking with them. And then the guy I'm actually fighting, Arsen Goulamarian, he was scheduled to fight the super champion Denis Lebedev in September, but that fell through. And so he got elevated to the super champion. And then his first defence was a voluntary defence. So he's allowed to choose anyone out of the top 10. And I was lucky enough to be guided into that position through my manager, Brian Armatruda, and so forth. So
that's awesome. So obviously it's something that you would have always dreamed of, fighting for a world title. You're going to be over in Paris for it as well. Do you know much about the guy that you're fighting?
Yeah, he's he's a very, very skilled fighter and world champion. Obviously, his last fight was against a fellow Australian from Queensland. So he went down to, I think he stopped him in the ninth round. So yeah, he's a very skilled fighter and strong boy. So, but I don't think he's come up against someone my size and as big as me. So,
and you've got some fantastic experience behind your belt with your 21-3.
Yeah, I was 22-3. So
22-3.
Yeah, had one more fight than him I've been on the big stage before, and it'll be similar to when I fought Green, but yeah, I've got that experience behind me now, so a little bit more confident.
Yeah, and that was obviously a massive fight against a guy like Danny Green.
Yeah, that was a huge step up, just even with the build-up and just leading into that fight, doing stuff media-wise and that I hadn't had to deal with before. And yeah, I was actually seeing a sports psychologist for about 6 weeks leading into that fight just to help me. My biggest fear was the crowd getting the better of me, so I just I did that to block the crowd out. And
do you know how many were there in the end?
I think it was about 14,000.
Far out.
Yeah, it was huge.
Can you when you're in that situation, can you hear the crowd really well? Are you listening to what they're saying?
I concentrated that hard on blocking that out. I look at photos now and I can't believe how many people there, because all I could do was just had tunnel vision for that ring. So
yeah. And how did that fight unfold the way that you would have maybe expected?
No, not necessarily. There was a lot of hiccups and a lot of stuff that didn't go my way in the night. But yeah, I learned from it, and it was a massive, huge experience for me. So I was thankful for that. But yeah, I wasn't happy with the result, as
of course
any loss would be. But I learned a lot from it, and hopefully that'll set me up for better things in this fight.
Absolutely. And would you say that Danny Green would be the toughest guy that you've fought?
Not necessarily. I've fought some tough guys. Like Oscar Ciali, my first ever loss. He was a strong, mentally tough guy that I'd never come up against before. Like leading into that fight, I thought it was just going to be a walkover, and yeah, I learned some good lessons from that. And as they always say, the best lessons learned are from your losses. So.
Yeah. And you've had so CLA and then Danny Green as well. Would you say there's any other guy who you fought who particularly stands out to you?
My other loss was against Daniel Lamar for the first time I fought for the Australian title, which I broke my hand in the third round of that fight and had to fight 7 rounds with a broken hand. So
yeah. So you're in your division at the moment. There's Jason Waitley, he's a good one, another good cruiserweight at the moment. Is there anyone who you particularly see yourself maybe fighting in the future, or who's particularly...
On the Australian scene, I'll just, this could be potentially be my last fight. But, I'm not looking anywhere past this fight.
Yeah.
There's plenty of good guys. The division's very strong at the moment. You got Jaya Patea, Mark Flanagan, who previously fought the guy that I'm about to fight. Jason Waitley, you say there's lots of guys out there that are getting to that high level. There's a guy from Perth, I forgot his name, but there's plenty of skilled guys out there. It's a very healthy division at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's the next month like for you then? What are you up to?
What do we got? 4.5 weeks till fight night. So I've got a massive, probably 3 weeks left of training back here. Just my workload's going to be huge, and I just want to be close to on weight when I leave. So a week out. So
you're sort of walking around at that weight then?
Yeah. I don't want to get over there. I'm going to be in unnatural scenes. My prep work, because I've had pretty much every fight in Melbourne, I've got my routine down pat here, and for the weight cut, where I eat, what I do to lead up to the fights, all that's going to have a spanner thrown in the works leading into that. So I'm just gonna have to get there and work out a little bit as we go what I have to do with the weight cut night sort of things.
And are you feeling really motivated as you've ever been?
I'm feeling the best I've ever felt, mentally and physically. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
And your diet and your sleep and everything, is that all you're trying to keep that all intact?
My sleep's probably been the one thing that's been battling me a little bit lately, just because my head's ticking that much with the excitement leading into this fight. So yeah, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity, and as I've said before, there's many fighters better skilled and had better careers than me that have fought and never got the opportunity to fight for a world title, and I'm lucky enough with my management and where I've been steered through to get the opportunity, and I'm going to grab it with both hands. So
yeah, absolutely. Tell us about your management, about your relationship with Brian Armatruda.
I first met Brian at the Bentley Club probably, 15 odd years ago.
Bentley Club, eh? I play for the Bentley Demons. So
yeah.
we had our end of season function there the other week.
Yeah, so I had an amateur fight there, and Brian come up to me. He was looking after another cruiserweight at the time, and he come up. I was sitting there with one of the trainers who's coming over me, Matt Ball and Bob Jones, and he come up to me and asked me for some sparring for the other cruiserweight he was looking after at the time. And after that, I got in contact with Julian Holland. He come on board and helped me out, and sent me on to my other trainer, Ray Giles, which he's a close friend of Brian's. And then ever since that day, I had my first pro fight under Brian, and never looked sideways since.
What? And Brian, obviously, he helped you out a few times in your career as well, in terms of getting you the right matchups and.
Yeah, mate. I've always had confidence in Brian and my trainers. If they're willing to put me in with someone, that's confidence in my head that I can beat that person.
Right.
If they've got confidence in me, then I've got no fears of whoever I fight.
Awesome. And who are your trainers? Tell us about those guys.
Well, Ray Giles, he's been around the traps for many years. So he's trained the likes of Lovemore Nadu, Lance Costello, Jeff Fennick back in the day, and he's been around forever. He don't want to offend him, but I think he's in his early 70s. He never gives it up. But yeah, so I got Ray on board. I've got Matt Ball, who I started kickboxing with at the age of 14. So he's come on board just under the guidance of Ray to help me out with training, just because I live close to Matt. So unfortunately, I've done a lot of work with Julian Holland, also used to train under Ray over the years. He's unfortunately hasn't been able to commit to this fight, but yeah, he's helped me out immensely over the years as well. So,
and you train in St Kilda, right?
At the moment, I'm training a lot in Somerville with Matt, and the other times I'm up around Thomastown way, Bundoora way, where Ray's living now. So,
all right, awesome.
Bit of travelling in
Did you
here and
used to train at a gym in St Kilda?
Yeah. I think we trained nearly every gym in St Kilda.
Yeah, very nice.
PCYC and Super Fight Gym and a couple of other gyms around there. So
Right. And do you have any sparring partners at the moment that you're getting around with?
I'm actually, I've been doing a little bit with a guy by the name of Mitch from Ringwood Way. So he's a light heavy that I've been doing a little bit with over the years, and he's helped me out for this fight. And I'm also leaving on Friday to go up to Queensland to do some work with some heavier, bit more skilled guys up that way. So
Awesome.
yeah, the likes of the Russell brothers.
Okay.
One of them's got the Australian title at the moment. The other one won the Australian title after I had it, and another guy, Trent Broadhurst, who I did a lot of work with leading into that green fight.
Nice. And what do you look for in terms of like really solid training? What works for you?
In regards to sparring wise, or
In regards to sparring and in regards to general training as well?
we just got to look for similar guys. It's like this guy's a very highly skilled boxer, so very neat, tidy. So I just got to find the similar high level guys that are going to simulate his fight style. So
Are you looking forward to going over to Paris and being overseas and the whole experience of traveling over to a new country, you know, being on a away turf, I guess you could say?
Yeah, that has its exciting side of it, and it's got the fear side of it as well. You're going into the unknown and into someone else's backyard to try and take their title off them. It's a massive thing. So I'm excited, and I've also got those nerves as well. So
do you think he'll have a pretty big support group there, or a pretty big fan base there, or?
I dare say he would. I got a sneak
Closer.
preview of the stadium the other day, and it's probably twice the size of the one I fought Green in. So
Oh, really? Do you think it'll be packed out?
yeah, I dare say it would be. Yeah.
That's unreal.
Yeah, the coverage and the supporter base behind boxing over in Europe's massive.
Oh,
so,
yeah. Much bigger than over here.
Yeah, I dare say it'd be a packed house.
Yeah. And have you been studying all the tape of your opponent and everything?
I've looked at little bits of him, but yeah, I try not to get too caught up in looking too much. I was worried about what I'm doing and getting close to the fight. I'll study him a little bit more, but my trainers are doing all that. Then old Ray, he was looking at videos of him over 5 weeks ago, so he's developing the fight plan and training me accordingly. So
nice. What would you say you sort of lean on in terms of your biggest strengths as a fighter?
My biggest strength probably is my strength. So
Okay.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm generally I cut down my weight. So when I'm in the ring, I'm a lot bigger than what I'm weighing day normally. So
nice. So in terms of tactic wise, you'd say you throw your weight around a fair bit and
I'll use
muscle the guy.
Yeah, I'll try to use my strength over everything, and yeah, I don't want to give too much away what we've been working on in the gym, but yeah, there's a couple of tricks up our sleeves. So
that's fair enough. So when did you catch the bug with the boxing bug? When did you start combat sports? No, you don't.
I've always my father was always involved in martial arts, and that when I was a kid, he started us off in Taekwondo when I was very young, and then took me to the boxing after that, and then onto the kickboxing. But when I was young, I wasn't really interested in. I was more worried about playing basketball and footy. It wasn't until my pop got very sick in probably 2004, I think. He was on his deathbed, and he was an ex-fighter and ex-boxer. So I wanted to always talked about it and wanted to get in and have a fight before he passed away. And I was lucky enough to do that a month before he died. So I had that first fight and trained up for that. And I'd always, coming from a team sport background and then going into boxing, I just fell in love with just the solo side. Training and being judged on what you put in, you know, as an individual rather than a team.
Yeah, that's the thing with boxing. There's nowhere to hide. Hey, you can't hide behind your teammates or blame someone else.
There's no hiding at the back of the packs for training. And
yeah, how proud would your grandpa be at the moment, though?
Yeah, I hope he'd be proud.
Oh, he would be so proud. Imagine seeing you fighting for a world title, mate. That's absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah, mate. It's something I never dreamt of or never thought would come about. But yeah,
Yeah, and so
we're here now.
you played footy as a youngster. Did you ever think about playing AFL, or was
That's all I wanted to do as a youngster. I played all my juniors at Hastings and played Stingrays at a young age. But what was unfortunate, I didn't.
So
didn't make the cut.
were you thereabouts? You were playing TAC Cup and all that.
I wouldn't say I made the Stingrays at a pretty young age, and played a pretty high level local footy.
Yeah,
But I was just got to that stage. I was starting to fall out of love with footy, and we had our fitness trainer before I had my first fight was a kickboxing trainer as well. So he I don't know, I sort of got halfway through a footy season and wasn't really seeing eye to eye with the coach at the time, and decided I had a word to him and just asked him if he'd train me up for my first fight, and we did that. Went into an 8-week training camp, and I fell in love with the whole combat sports after that. And
right. And amateur fights?
Amateurs, I had 2 kickboxing fights. I had one here and one in Thailand, and then I come back and sort of worked out I was better with my hands than my legs.
Fair enough.
I struggled to kick over Jamtin.
So you worked at Phuket top team, right?
I'd just come back from a training camp over there. I was at Phuket top team, and just the place I went to in Geelong, it's just one long street just full of gyms and health food shops. And
awesome.
Yeah, mate, it's the...
Where's that?
In Geelong, at the back of Phuket.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's the
awesome.
Perfect spot for training and
so health food.
Health wise, like it's got yoga studios, strength and conditioning places, boxing gyms, everything there.
Wow, so they're just like freaking just so deep in the like the lifestyle. Hey, they just live and breathe it.
It's good to be in a place with that many like-minded people and no outside distractions. Like it's a 40-50 minute drive to get into Patong where you can create some havoc. So it's sort of it's not in your face. So
yeah.
And I was lucky enough over there. I got over there and there was a guy by the name of Mark Godbeer.
Yeah, I know
ex-UFC
him.
Bellator guy. He was training up for a bare knuckle tournament over in America.
Right.
So
he would beat bare knuckle fighting championship. Yeah.
Yeah. So he was a British champion. And then, we did. I got 2 weeks of solid sparring in with him, and then, he ended up going over to America and fighting in Ken Shamrock's tournament of Velour.
Wow.
Yeah, he ended up taking that out. So,
God, good on him, man. Yeah, I remember watching him in the UFC actually, a few fights. But
big boy.
Yeah, big time.
we had some really, really like full on hard spars. It was, it was a good experience.
Yeah, that would have been awesome. Was the bare knuckle thing, is that something you'd ever have considered doing?
My crushed up little hands, mate, wouldn't last too long in the bare knuckle, I don't think.
Yeah. Do you think Godbeer was cut out for it?
Oh, mate, he poleaxed the guy and he knocked him out within 30 seconds. So if you get the chance, watch a replay on it. It's pretty brutal stuff.
Oh. What do you think about bare knuckle boxing?
Everything has its place, mate. It's not my cup of tea, but yeah.
Yeah, I think that it's pretty cool that it exists and that's legal now.
Yeah, it's a brutal sport. Like,
did you ever see the Artem Lobov versus Paulie Malignaggi fight?
No, I didn't. I've heard a little bit about it.
It was a little bit boring, but then Artem Lobov then fought this guy Jason Knight, I think his name is.
Yeah.
And they just had this war, and both of them came out after it looking like their faces were just completely busted up. If you get the chance, just go on Google Images and type in Lobov and Knight faces.
Mate, they're in the bare knuckle boxing, their faces just get destroyed in it.
Yeah. It's like that photo of John Wayne Parr after he had a fight in Thailand, I think it was, and he had like literally track marks of just scars all around his eyes from just being elbowed and kneed and stuff.
The elbows are even more brutal.
Yeah. I'd love to go over to Thailand one day and just spend a few weeks doing one of those camps. So that would be so cool.
Yeah, mate. I love doing it. I've been doing it for a very long time. So for my whole career, I've been going back and forth to Thailand. So
and Phuket's the spot, is it?
I've done Pattaya before, but it's a bit more spread out, Pattaya, with the gyms. I like Geelong, and I've been going to Phuket top team for probably over 10 years. So that's been a comfortable spot for me because I know the surroundings. I know the owner there, Boyd, pretty well. And they welcome me with open arms every time I'm there. So
and they've got like UFC fighters and stuff that come through those places all the time. Hey?
Chris Cyborg and they've got a lot of other guys that come through from the UFC and so forth. So yeah,
how does it work in terms of like you'll get there, you'll stay in like one of the villas or one of the rooms or something?
Yeah, I've got a hotel sorted out. I've been staying there ever since day one. So it's cheap accommodation. Food there is awesome, and
they feed you, and it's like really.
No, the whole streets is full of restaurants and stuff that. Mate,
and you go get a good healthy feed anyway.
$3-4 meals, and
that's unreal.
It's an awesome spot.
And then they've got like classes running all day as well.
Yeah. There's that many gyms there. You can pick and choose where you want to train, and for different reasons. So
that's unbelievable. Because I know I've heard of Tiger Muay Thai over there. I'm not sure where that is.
Tiger is at the very start of the street. So
so that's in Geelong
the street
as well.
would be probably 2.5K long, and it's just chock-a-block full of gyms and
really, I'd love to go.
Nutrition shops, Phuket Nutrition looked after me while I was there, and
Can you work just boxing over there? Or is it mainly Muay Thai.
They cater for everything there. They did Muay Thai, the boxing, wrestling. I think I saw a couple of stick fighting classes they were doing at Tiger, and they cater
stick
for
fighting.
everything. Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Have you seen John Wayne Parr's Bred with Venom documentary?
I haven't yet, nah.
Yeah, it's about him living in Thailand.
Yeah.
And like learning how to fight over there, and the lessons and stuff that he learns is just
amazing. He was training at a gym that I used to go to, Sichuan in Pattaya.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think he was based out of there for a little while. It was a very well-known gym back in the day.
Yeah. I can't remember what they were called, but that probably gets mentioned, I'd imagine, in the documentary as well.
For sure.
Well, what are the main sort of things that you took away from immersing yourself in the Thai sort of fighting scene?
It's just, I don't know. There's probably nothing different to back home that you learn there. It's just the luxury of being able to get up and just not worry about anything else back home, or just get up and train and eat good food and just knuckle down and get the job done. Yeah. Yeah.
And how many times did you have a fight after training in Thailand?
I've had, I think I've done 3 or 4 camps there beforehand. So it's just, I generally like to do 1 or 2 weeks there before, at the very start of my camps, just to get my mind set in that training routine, so I'm not toing and froing back here. And I've always found that first 2 weeks is sort of the hardest cycle to break. Yeah.
Yeah, as in like getting the diet right, making sure that you don't teetotal.
Getting your friends stuck in their head not to try and drag you out and lead you astray.
It's so true. It's so true, because I've always got to battle that as well. When not that I've did heaps of fights or anything. I've had 1 fight.
Yeah.
But like just that camp beforehand, when you're like, the next 8 weeks I've just got to get fit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you've got mates like, one night won't do anything. Yeah. One night won't do anything. But
one drink won't hurt.
Yeah.
Like 1 drink won't hurt, but I might as well have 15. One's not going to do it.
And it's also that mental thing as well. Hey,
yeah.
Just like you want to make sure you've done it right.
It's something that I found pretty hard at the start of my career. Like before I had my first fight, I went from a footy sort of mentality where you bloody drink 4 footy and then you're drinking after footy and
big time.
Yeah. It's a full-blown binge weekend every weekend, and it took a little bit for it to sink into my mates' heads. The dedication you got to put into before a fight.
100%. And footy clubs are like that as well. God bless them.
90% of the crowd that come watch me are old footy mates and people that are involved in the footy club. So I was very lucky in that aspect to have
it's an awesome
sort of backing.
Awesome community to be involved in. What would you say are some of the other like biggest challenges and hurdles that you've faced in your career?
There's been a few, mate. Probably the biggest ones of late that I won't go into. But
yeah. And in terms of, like you said that the first few weeks is always difficult in terms of like preparation or, motivation or like certain aspects of training. Is there anything that you particularly have to battle through?
Mate, I've had that many different challenges before fights over the years. Like my last fight, I had a mate, a very close friend of mine, commit suicide a month before the fight. and then I had another guy commit suicide 2 weeks before that fight. So 2 weeks out, I was ready to pull the pin. So if that fight hadn't gone ahead and I hadn't have won, I would have. I wouldn't be sitting where I am now with the potential of winning a world title. So
yeah, mate. Does that stuff really motivate you now?
Yeah, but that motivated me that night because I had his whole family there and I had his name.
Wow.
They had their name on my shorts, and so that night was a hard night too. We also had the shootings before the fight, just before I was about to walk out. So.
Yeah, I was there.
It was full on. But
I didn't realize that was that night.
Yeah,
and I couldn't believe that main event went ahead.
Yeah, I was about to walk through the door to walk to the ring, and security guard come bursting through. He's like, run, they're shooting. So what the bloody hell's going on?
Yeah.
And we sat out the back for 40 odd minutes, and it was unknown whether we were going to go out there and fight. And so I was like sitting there, waited 40 minutes, like, get those gloves off. We're obviously not going to go out. And then they come over and told me to warm up. We're going out to fight. And then went out for 10 rounds and lucky enough to get the decision, and then did the speeches, showered up, and I walked out to get the car to go home, and there's bloody 400 coppers in the street and guy laying bloody dead in the ground. It was full on.
So what did that sort of? You must have been riding a wave of emotion even before you got in the ring. It must have been you must have felt zapped of energy.
Yeah, I don't know what come over me that night. I got through the fight with pretty well. Like I wasn't. I didn't let anything get in the way of me thought wise. So I dealt with enough leading into that fight. So
is there anything that you sort of particularly use to channel that strength? Because in order to sort of keep trucking on when all of this sort of stuff gets thrown at you, you have to really sort of have some sort of mental fortitude.
Yeah.
How do you do it?
I use my kids of late. I've got two little kids, so I just picture them ahead, and I'm doing it for them. So they get me through.
Oh, that's beautiful, mate. Well,
yeah.
If there's anything else you'd like to say to everybody who's listening, I'm sure there's going to be people who are really keen on to hear updates from you about anything. So
mate, just if they tune into my social media and just keep an eye on, I'll try and keep everyone updated on our progress with everything. And
where can we find you?
On Instagram under Sugar Kane W, and
Beautiful.
just Facebook. So everything's normally always sprawled out across that, and
Beautiful. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on, mate. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Good luck, and do us proud over there, mate.
Yeah, we'll
do.
Cheers,
guys.
mate.
Thank you very much.